When it comes to Roblox genres, obbies are the simplest of them all. If you go into Roblox Studio right now and just put a couple parts inside of an endless void, then you already have an obby. A short obby, but it is an obby. Now, most obbies are just that. Little platforms inside of a void where there's not really anything going on. I'm gonna go through 3 different obbies. Can you tell there's 3 different obbies? No, you can't. But what happens when an obby steps out of that boundary? Well, to know, we'd have to go back 13 years ago to August 15th, 2010. Now, this may not look like much, but back then, Roblox was so barren that this was like the best thing that was on the platform at this time. And well, nowadays it's a little better, but you know, it's still the same fundamental game. However, a couple years later, the creator, Crazy Blocks, would make a sequel, and it would end up being what I based my entire channel off of. I already have an entire video about Flood Escape 2, but that video is like really bad, so don't go watch it, please. Flood Escape 2 is basically an obby with a flood rising that doesn't look like absolute garbage. While also just doing the platforming challenges that are ahead of you, you also have to get buttons, or group buttons, that require multiple people to press, which will make certain things happen on the map depending on whatever the developer wants to happen. That's basically it, that's the fundamentals. Chances are, you've probably already played Flood Escape 2, because it was actually one of the most popular Roblox games at the time it was created, and now it's barely alive. Now, Flood Escape 2 actually made somewhat of a cult following. It got multiple fan games, and you know, most of them are terrible, and what we're looking at today is original and better. This is Liquid Breakout. Before Liquid Breakout, there was Doom.exe. Before Liquid Breakout, there was Flood Escape 6. Flood Escape 6 was any old generic fan game. It just used open flood test and just free models and a stupid lobby, and it just stole a bunch of maps. Here, I could make it right now. Wow, man, isn't this much better? Sadly, Flood Escape 6 is lost to time forever, and it will never come back. However, for the 3 people at the time who knew who Elite was, they were very upset with him. He became pretty hated for stealing maps and putting it in his game without permission, so he kinda got rid of it. And then he created Liquid Breakout Season 1. And then he created Liquid Breakout Season 2. Season 2 actually has things made for it. There's 2 OST videos not uploaded by Lux, and there's 1 gameplay video that I found. One thing I noticed about the lobby is that there's a different version of the lobby theme being used, and it's never been uploaded anywhere else, so... But Liquid Breakout Season 2 seems to just be a pretty boring, lackluster Flood Escape 2 fan game that's much worse than regular Flood Escape 2. I mean, there's probably enough content here to keep it playing for just 20 minutes, and that's probably it. But hey, at least they got 2 OSTs by Thundershocker. Oh my god, why are there so many back? But the story doesn't stop there, because we're on Season 3 of Liquid Breakout right now. So let's see how that was like before. Unlike the other versions, I actually have access to Liquid Breakout Season 3. So let's see how that was like. I should really stop trusting myself. This is Liquid Breakout Season 3. It's like an entirely different game. There's a guy, there's a lift, there's a guy, here's an information board. Welcome to Liquid Breakout Season 3, a fan's remake of Flood Escape 2. Push button to draw paths, avoid obstacles, and flood. Here's the training area, except it's so cramped you can't do any training, so you earn 5 stars and a loaf of bread. put poison in the bread. There's a hole in the wall that goes to a wall, and when you go into the lift, you disappear. Just like my father. Like last time, the amount of maps there are in the game is enough to keep you entertained for 30 minutes straight, so basically you won't be playing this game at all. Hey look, Autumn Fields! That was the map that was highlighted last month. Wow, maybe this game is good after all. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, no, the gameplay itself is pretty lacking. I mean, it's literally just a copy and pasted engine. What else do you want? It's just got custom maps. I mean, this map doesn't even have its own song! What is this? Is this copyright-free music? I can't look at this anymore, alright? This is disproving my point. This is supposed to be about the best Roblox game you've never played. Well, I hope that the next update will be better. Surely it's gotta be. Wait a minute. This is better? So, first thing I'm noticing is that instead of just one person, there seems to be 3 people working on the game now, which is pretty good. And there's a Liquid Breakout map making kit, so now the community of 3 people can create maps. In the training room, there's this spooky back room with pipes and this computery thing. I wonder what that's all about. Maybe it's some lore. If you go to the back of the lobby, you can actually see that there's this nice beach view where there's this person sitting on a little island. I wonder what they have to say. Alright, well you're no fun. There's now a changelog, so we can see that they've only added 3 things since we were gone, and Autumn Fields and Neonic Zone. Wow, alright, I guess we'll check those out. Wow, Autumn Fields is looking a lot better. Wait, whoa, I have to save him! Games, I'm going to rescue you! I'm going to rescue you, dude! You're gonna be saved!
What?
Wow, and I got 1 gem for it. Wait, can I even use this currency? There's not even a shop. Well, here's Neonic Zone, one of the new maps added to the game. There's actually a bunch of new maps added to the game, but, you know, I chose this one, not for any reason in particular. I just really like Neonic Zone, and there's no reason I picked it at all. Old Neonic Zone is garbage. And that's it. That's this version of Liquid Breakout. Surely the next version will be even better. If it continues going on like this, someone might make a YouTube video about it. What? This version of the game has custom UI! Wow! There's even currency. Now I could finally use those gems. The lobby is looking much nicer, and there's a little platform where the beach used to be for live events. What? You mean I can see people like KSI or Mr. Beast perform on this stage in real time like Fortnite? Wow. The LBS3 event will start very soon. If you want to participate, make sure to join our Discord as we will be announcing a certain game to join to experience the event link. https://discord.gg. After a long time, the training room has finally turned into the one we have today, which is pretty cool. It is a much better training room. Here's a quick look at the shop. You can buy auras, buddies, whatever that is. I bought this one. It follows me around. Name's Invisible Guy. Anyways, I wouldn't want to break the tradition of playing Autumn Fields. The gameplay is basically the same as before, but now we have sliding, so that's pretty cool. And it's the exact same map, so who cares? So let's try a different map. Maybe Voltron Base. You've got to be kidding me. And that concludes the chapter. That's it. That's the origins of Liquid Breakout. Now, we can finally talk about how I found Liquid Breakout for the first time. I was getting bored of playing Flood Escape 2 because it seems to do that every single year, and I was thinking maybe an FE2 fan game would be better. So when I looked up FE2 fan game, one icon really stood out to me. It was this. I don't know why it stood out to me. It was actually pretty bland, but for some reason I clicked on it, and as soon as I got in, I was immediately blown away. Well, blown away is a bit of a strong word. I was more like, wow, this is the lobby? And then as soon as I stepped into the lift, I knew something great was about to happen. The soundtrack alone kept me entertained. Any game with an amazing soundtrack can get me hooked instantly. By the time I played Liquid Breakout, it was basically an already finished game. There was a good lobby, there was an amazing soundtrack, there were many maps to pick from, there was a shop that had enough things. It was basically great, everything was there. You had agility, you had zip lines. That's basically Flood Escape 2 recreated entirely. Right after playing it for the first time, I immediately looked on YouTube to see if it had a soundtrack. If I could find anything, I would be happy. And I did. I found the lift theme. Once I found it, I left a comment, and that would be my first interaction with the Liquid Breakout community. And a couple of days later, I would join the Discord. The Discord was pretty dead, to be honest. There would be like maybe 5 messages per day, but I was still happy to be there. In fact, I kinda chatted more than anyone else there. It seemed like I took it more seriously, and I would just keep playing the game over and over until I started getting better at it, and I started to learn the maps, and then I started to appreciate it more, and then I get more well known in the community. I was having the time of my life. This was a really good game, even at its early stage. And you probably want convincing, so I'll show you. This is modern Liquid Breakout. Liquid Breakout Update 1.13 is the current version that we're on right now. A game with so many contributors, including me, an insanely detailed lobby, an even better soundtrack than before, the most optimized gameplay of any Flood Escape game I've ever played, and ideas that are so much better than Flood Escape 2. Modern day Liquid Breakout's UI is an insane step up from what used to be. Everything feels super good. Everything feels fluid. The design of the UI is perfect for Liquid Breakout, and every time you hit a button, it has a cool little effect, and I love that, and it's really nice. Every single UI finally feels like it's made for this game. It feels like it's this game's UI, instead of just a reskin of a different game, which is what it used to be. It feels different from Flood Escape 2, while also being similar. I mean, I can't really compare the two right now because currently Flood Escape 2's UI looks like absolute garbage. The details in the lobby are just exquisite. They're amazing. They look so good. Compare this lobby to the one in Flood Escape 2. It's like night and day. That's probably because Liquid Breakout's team has a talented team of builders who have probably made some of your favorite Flood Escape 2 maps. If you play it anyway. Not only this, but the lobby music is also very good as it was remastered for the new update. The training area actually is a place where you can train because it has new mechanics and old mechanics and a bunch of mechanics just for you to mess around with. Where you can learn how to jump off of a zipline, and you can learn what this thing does. If it's not so obvious, it makes you travel with the wall jump. Now, if you're looking for a challenge, Liquid Breakout is the game for you. Like, it is super difficult. It's time to talk about the gameplay. The gameplay of Liquid Breakout is almost one-to-one identical with Flood Escape 2. It's platforming challenges where buttons change things on the map, yada yada, you've heard it before. But Liquid Breakout maps do it in a different way. They have a different difficulty scale, so maybe a hard map in Flood Escape 2 would be a normal map here, or vice versa. Maps in Liquid Breakout that were specifically made for Liquid Breakout are usually much harder to beat than regular Flood Escape 2 maps because Liquid Breakout is supposed to be a harder game. Let's take Desolate Evasion, for example. This map is a very strict and how much time you have to beat it. Just look at this. This is like super hard, dude. The amount of practice it would take for someone to beat that map must take like a really long time. And when you do beat the map, you get a really good sense of reward because the game has a really nice effect that plays when you beat a map. It does a cool noise and it does a cool particle effect. It really makes you feel proud that you beat it. Let's take a look at another map. Quite possibly Liquid Breakout's most popular map, Hyperspace. Hyperspace is a hell event, which is a new difficulty created just for Liquid Breakout, along with Outrageous, which was the difficulty of Desolate Evasion. This map literally took me 2 months to beat. I wasn't even trying to make it into a YouTube video, it just happened that the person who I was playing it with was also recording it, so that's the only reason why my video of it exists. This map is super hard. It has 2 tower sections, and a very tight time limit for the underwater section, as it's in acid, and acid makes your air drain faster. Don't question how it makes your air drain faster instead of melting your skin, but that's something for another day. The soundtrack for this map is amazing. It is one of the best soundtracks that I've ever heard in a video game ever. This might be one of my favorites of all time. Well, if it wasn't for one more map that we have to talk about. While I have been praising Liquid Breakout this entire video, there is one thing that I don't like about it, and it's some of the maps. Some of the maps can be really stupid, and while Liquid Breakout has been making the effort to get rid of all of the terrible maps that it had, there is still one map that it has that I think is actually really bad. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Electrical Devastate. Electrical Devastate takes place right after Blue Sector because this game actually has lore. But the lore isn't that intricate, and it's really just, here's one map, and it goes into this map. Electrical Devastate is a map that I got to see be ruined in front of my eyes. I'm friends with the creator of this game. I got to see him buff the heck out of Electrical Devastate. Over and over. If someone said it was too easy, he'd add another buff to it. I got to see this map go from revamped to absolutely terrible. Does this gameplay seem fun to you? Does any of this seem fun? It may look cool, but just because it looks cool doesn't mean it's fun, okay? Elite's reasoning behind buffing the heck out of Electrical Devastate is because it's supposed to be the hardest hell event. But if it's supposed to be the hardest hell event, then why do you keep on buffing it? If it's already the hardest hell event, then you're just raising the ceiling of how hard hell events have to be, and then you have to change the rating of all the other ones because you've made this one so dang hard. There was a period of time where the creator accidentally made the map so hard that he was considering making it an ultimate map, which is a step above hell event. But thank goodness he decided against it, because that would have been terrible. Elite says that the maps in Hellhaven are supposed to be hard and tedious and they're not supposed to be fun. But if that's the case, then why is the Hyperspace there? Maybe it should be moved down, if it can't be a Hellhaven. I mean, Hyperspace is a fun, energetic map that's still very difficult, and it's really rewarding when you beat it. It's a really fun map to play. To make it even worse, this map has my favorite OST of all time. The OST for this map is the best in the entire game, and I will die on that hill. It just kind of feels like an amazing OST was just kind of put to waste on a map that no one's ever going to be able to beat. I mean, only a couple of people have ever beaten it in Liquid Breakout so far. It's been like months since the update, and only a couple of people have beaten the newer version. The creator himself got mentally drained testing the map in order to beat it. You made the map! Why'd you make it so hard? It can be fun. It can be fun and hard. It doesn't have to be that insane. There was a map called Easier Devastate. We somehow convinced Lux to create a reskin of the map where all the gameplay was much easier. And it was more fun. It could have been harder, obviously. Like, it's super easy on the tower section, but if you just made the jumps a little bit better, a little less, like, head bumpy, then maybe Electrical Devastate might not actually be that bad of a map. Maybe I might even try to beat it one day. I guess that won't happen. Sorry, I kinda went off on a tangent about Electrical Devastate. I've just been wanting to get that off my chest for a long time. That doesn't mean every single hell of it is bad, though. Mushroomia Entryway has a really weird first tower section, and some of the gameplay is a little bit iffy, but it is actually fun. And it has an amazing OST by Lemilada, one of the best I've ever heard. Probably my third favorite OST ever created for Liquid Breakout. The gameplay optimizations and the maps themselves go hand in hand. Insanely hard maps that would have taken like hours to beat in Flood Escape 2 could take even less in Liquid Breakout because the wall jumps and everything else is optimized so smoothly. In Liquid Breakout, they do something that's very subtle that makes wall jumps insanely nice feeling. When you hold space on a wall jump, you instantly jump off. There's no lag, there's no nothing. Flood Escape 2, on the other hand, has this weird lag, this weird delay, but if you time it instantly, then you skip the delay. You never know what you're getting out of Flood Escape 2 wall jumps, but in Liquid Breakout, it's always certain that you'll jump off as soon as you hit it. This makes being able to flick your camera off of a wall jump much easier. That's why it feels so good to play some of these maps, because you can just wall jump instantly and you don't feel like you've lost any time from doing so. Everything feels like it's going at its pace. There's also little changes in the game that make it much more impactful to play. When you get into an intense section, the creator can choose to add cinematic bars to the screen that make things more impactful. And it's thanks to Liquid Breakout that this has become kind of cliche and annoying, and now everyone does it, but still, you know, that it's cool to do. Or everything in Liquid Breakout has been fully optimized for your enjoyment. Flood Escape 2 does not do any of this. It does a little bit, but it doesn't even go as far as Liquid Breakout or any other fan games. I mean, you can do a lot more in Liquid Breakout. You can set the speed and hitbox sizes for zip lines, while Flood Escape 2 just has the same core speed throughout every single map. And so ziplines just kind of become annoying and stupid. Plus, Liquid Breakout allows you to jump off of ziplines using physics to propel yourself, which is why this is one of my favorite parts of hyperspace. They also allow you to set how long you stick to a wall jump for, which is something I suggested actually. And you can still do it in the training area, and the creator never fixed it, so it's just kind of there forever. If I could code, I would actually utilize this, so anyone who can, you have permission to steal my idea. If there was a way to move a wall jump, you would stay on the wall jump as it moved, and if you changed the amount of stick time you had to it, then technically you can make all these really cool things. You can make moving platforms that you stick to the wall on, kind of like Chemical Plant Zone in Sonic Mania. You don't need to credit me for that idea. I'll just be happy if anyone does. No one will, but you know, it's nice to think about. One thing that I do think is a downgrade from old Liquid Breakout is the animations. I like Boon Moon, but I don't think these animations are actually that good. There's no life to them, really. I mean, my head isn't even moving when I'm walking. I'm not like a bird, I'm a human. The rest of the animations are fine. They kind of feel like the old Tria.os ones, but if you even know what that is, then really cool person. Now here's the shop, and I'm not going to go over every single thing that's here because that would be stupid, because I think you can kind of infer some of them. I mean, like, any Roblox player has seen an aura before. They know what an aura is, and a tank is literally just a glorified back accessory. It really doesn't matter. But I will talk about some of my favorites, like buddies. Buddies are really cool. Unlike Flood Escape 2, where they just follow you and then they fall down and then they just teleport to you. They do the same thing here, but they have dialogue now. I mean, you're not going to buy a Scott the Woz buddy if it doesn't say the word lust, right? Come on, that can't just be me. It's little things like this that make Liquid Breakout the best Flood Escape fan game and the best Roblox game you've never even heard of, because this game doesn't even have any players. About 90% of the time, Liquid Breakout, despite having so much effort put into it, is barely advertised to anyone, and I'm hoping this video will change that, so please go play it right now. And it only has like 20 people playing like at once every day, which is actually enough to let the creator have like enough Robux to dev exchange and upgrade their computer, which is like really cool. But sadly, the game just doesn't have any players. It's always just going to be the same like couple of people over and over, and it's never anyone new. So I'm really lucky to have found Liquid Breakout when it had literally no players. Every time I played it, it would just be me and me only. It was like I had my own private server. The point is, this game doesn't get enough players, alright? Now, I've been talking about the soundtrack, just kind of like saying it's amazing here and there, but I want to put an entire segment specifically on the soundtrack only, because the soundtrack is amazing. The main creator of the game also apparently is a music composer, and somehow their music is so good that it was able to get into not only his own game, but also Flood Escape 2 itself. So give a gigantic applause to Elite for somehow being good at music. Oh my god. Remember Hyperspace and Electrical Devastate? Well, both of those songs were created by Lux. Isn't that insane, dude? And not every single Liquid Breakout OST is actually from Lux either. There are other composers, like me. I've created 4 songs for the game, being Neonic Zone, Volcanic Factory, this one, and Grumble Volcano, which is actually my most recent one. Then there's also people like Lemmy Lotta and Axmat. Just people that are genuinely like really good at music making. Which is why they also make their own OSTs for Flood Escape 2 community maps. Even I do that, but not anymore. But these people make fan game soundtracks and Flood Escape 2 community map soundtracks, and every single one of them is amazing. Appreciate the composers, because they make the feel of the map, to be honest. They make the feel of the gameplay, they make the feel of everything. Whatever you're hearing in the background is what the feel of like the entire environment's supposed to be. So if the OST is good at that, then it's a good OST. And Liquid Breakout is always filled with good OSTs. Except for that one. We don't talk about that one. In fact, let's just stare at this gigantic credits podium so that you can see everyone who's worked on this game. Alright, that's enough. I may be nice, but I'm not that nice. Liquid Breakout goes above and beyond to be an amazing experience that you play, and I'm not saying experience because that's what Roblox calls them now. It's still a game, but it feels different than Flood Escape 2. There are no other obbies or platformers that are like Liquid Breakout. You can't find a single one, and if there are any, then they're usually just a fan game of Flood Escape 2 anyways. You can't really find your own Flood Escape 2 without it being about Flood Escape 2. It's kinda gotta be the exact same thing. So here it is. This is the end of the video. It's taken me a long time to finish this video. I've never scripted anything before, so this entire thing now is all completely unscripted. I want to say, if you enjoyed that, feel free to subscribe. I'd like to make this my full job one day. If you notice that all of my previous videos now have the title of old next to them, that's because I've kind of been wanting to rebrand my channel. Not like a full-on rebrand, but I want to make this style of content from now on. I want to do things more with you guys, which is why I have a Twitter account, by the way. You can go follow me there. It really just depends on how long it's gonna stay there, though. You know, if it doesn't die within 3 months again. But I would really like to interact with my community, so you can go follow me there, and I'll be more active. But whatever, I hope you enjoyed this analysis on Liquid Breakout. Now, if you don't excuse me, I have to go make Flood Escape 7. I heard that they're gonna have like a really crazy map in there. Apparently this time, they gave their 100% consent to this. So, it's a good thing I'm not stealing anything. Those decaying silo models look pretty nice in the toolbox.